Just recording this so that I can get it documented before I lose it out of my memory. I had another dream this time that back home, cemetery where I grew up. There's a cemetery on the hill across the creek. It's a real common thing for Appalachia, Eastern Kentucky. Small family cemeteries. And actually, long story, but uh, my two older sisters and older brother, their mother passed away when they were really little. And my dad remarried, married my mom, had myself and my little brother. But so anyway, it was their family cemetery. It was their mom, grandparents, aunts, uncles, kids, Williamson Family Cemetery in Eastern Kentucky. I grew up really very close to it. It was, in fact, we used to go sled riding there on the side of the hill beside of the cemetery. Very big cemetery for that area, really. Pretty good size one. So I dreamed about that last night. Strange because my grandfather on my mom's side, he's buried like a half mile from that cemetery at another cemetery. My dad is buried a few miles away on a different cemetery. Sorry, I'm just waking up, trying to just document this. Of course, I'm rambling, but so the cemetery I dreamed about, it was like all cemeteries combined into one. It was really big, and there was stuff built around it, like entertainment shops and things, which is far from the truth, or far from the reality. There was roads built all around it where you could go and access grave sites from different locations. And there was like if you keep driving past it, there was like a big picnic area. It's very bizarre for somebody to build entertainment venue around a cemetery. Like that was part of the draw. So that was pretty bizarre. I just remember in the dream just being like amazed by all that. Like I was saying, I wanted to call my mom as soon as I could because there was no service there. I wanted to call her and see if she knew about that. Like, why would they put an entertainment venue around a cemetery? And I was back there for a while, just kind of in amazement, I guess, just kind of standing around looking at things. And I mean, there was even like a stand where they was selling coffee and donuts. And then I decided to take a walk and walk around, uh, looking for family's, my immediate family's area. And I was walking, I was going down, like I went around a curve, and it was one of those like homeless tent cities. It was gigantic, but it was all like it wasn't tents. It was those like huge umbrellas, like beach umbrellas, or the umbrellas that you have on a table out on a deck, like by a pool or something. Those big umbrellas, probably 200 or 300 of them, all just like you could tell they were attached together. And then they had like tarps all around the edges of it. And it was just like this gigantic homeless encampment on a cemetery. And I remember I got kind of aggravated, kind of like, how could somebody let this happen? How could this be? These homeless people need somewhere to be out of the cold and out of the weather, and they sure don't need to be up here on a cemetery with right on top of grave sites and everything. Just a huge homeless encampment. And I remember thinking, I gotta get out of here. I don't want to get like, I don't want them to see me by myself or something. I remember I got a little bit nervous about it, thinking, these people don't know me. What will they do? And so I took off and I ended up going down the hill. And and then when I got to the bottom of the hill, it was like a little town, like a little small town, which is not there in reality. And there was it said government office. And it was like real olden day, like even 1800s Western cowboy style, if you will, little town. I mean, it's just, my dreams are so bizarre, man. I'm just so waking up right now, but yeah, so it was like this little ghost town, like, and there was a few different shops, but I knew when I left the homeless encampment, that's what I was looking for. I was wanting to look for somebody who was in charge who could help me figure out how, why and how they were letting a homeless encampment be on a cemetery when there surely was somewhere better to put, help these homeless people and put them somewhere else other than on a cemetery. And it was wrong for them to be just up there trampling all over graves and stuff, sleeping on graves. I don't know. And so I go, the government office, it said, business upstairs. There was a sign that said business upstairs, government business. And there was an arrow pointing up, a set of wooden steps on the outside of this building. And then I go up there. I'm looking for somebody to talk to about this. And I go in, and there's just a couple of different people sitting there. And there's this lady, and she's like, "Oh, I love that. That's valuable." And for the life of me, I can't even tell you what it was. But she just was looking at me, and she said that. She was like, "It's so valuable." And I think it was a piece of jewelry I had. And I said, "It's my grandmother's. I don't want to sell it." I said, "I'm here to talk about the problem at the cemetery." And she's like, "Oh, okay, well, if you decide to sell it, let me know." And she just walked out and left. So she obviously wasn't working there. And I started looking and asking, and they were all like, "No, we don't work here." And there was nobody there. Imagine that. In the government office, there was nobody there to help. How ironic. And then I turned around to leave. And then when I turned around to leave, the steps, which were an outside set of steps, turned into like a modern office type area with cubicle. There was like a cubicle and then a set of steps, but it was like it was like it became inside building instead of a stairs outside. It's just, God, my dreams are so weird. Like, why would that little detail, why do I even remember that? And why would it change like that in my dream? From old-timey outside steps to indoor, modern looking office with a cubicle sitting right at the top of the steps. And then I heard a guy talking, and I was like, I know that voice, but I couldn't see him because he was in the cubicle. I was like, I know that voice. I believe that's Mike Adams. And I looked around the cubicle, and I said, and he was in a conversation with somebody. And so I just waited a minute, and then he stood up, and he was huge. He was probably like 7 feet tall. And I said, "You're Mike Adams." And he's like, "Shh, don't tell everybody." And I was like, "You're so valuable. There's so many questions I would love to talk to you about seeing you in person." And he was like, "Don't say out loud who I am." And I could not believe how tall he was. And he said, "We can have a discussion, but not right here." And then the first lady who had said, "That looks valuable, I'd like to buy it," she came walking back in the room, and she was his wife. And she said, "I'm ready to go, Mike." She said, "Oh, are you trying to buy it too?" And he was like, "What?" And she was like, "Her jewelry." And he said, "Oh, I didn't notice." He said, "She wants to have a conversation." He said, "I think she knows." And then that was it. That was the end of the dream. I was just like standing at the top of those office stairs with Mike Adams and his wife, I guess. So I don't know if you know who Mike Adams is. I'm too asleep to tell you all that right now, who Mike Adams is, but what a crazy dream. Crazy, crazy dream.